Carlos, a close technical fight, back and forth. You know, a bit nervous out there when they got to the judges.
No, we're all confident that we had the win. So yeah, the first round was a tough one. Second and third round, I knew that I had that. We just had to push it in the end.
You know, he's going to be a solid, tough veteran. So you have to go in there with that sort of mindset already. But when you were in there and you were fighting him, did you think like, oh, this guy's actually tougher and craftier than I thought?
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, we knew that he was going to come out tough, and exactly how he came out. But he's very good at lulling you to sleep. He's very good at just kind of putting his pressure, but not really doing anything. He kind of just waits on you to make the move. So our game plan was to just stick and move and hopefully get him to walk into something. He was definitely smarter than that. He's a veteran in the game and a little older now, so he knows not to walk into the younger power.
Yeah, these are the sort of fights that you learn the most from, right? 3 rounds with a crafty veteran who, like you said, makes you have to sort of make adjustments in there. Is these the fights that you learn the most from?
For sure, yeah. 3 rounds with a veteran like him, or even just a former champion like him is definitely a win.
And as you said, former champion, great name on your resume. What would you like to do with that name? What would you like to do next?
Well, definitely. I mean, 8 fight win streak, the longest win streak in the light heavyweight division. I'm definitely looking at a light heavyweight title contention.
Congratulations.
Carlos, just over here. Jiri Prochazka mentioned he was interested in the winner of your fight next if you weren't going to get a title shot. Would that fight interest you, and how do you feel you'd match up with him?
Yeah, for sure. I'll get anyone. But, I mean, where is he placed at the moment? I'm looking to go forward for sure. And I'm definitely looking at a title shot in the near future.
Did you expect it to be more of a war tonight? How did you assess the fight heading into that final round?
Yeah, it went exactly how I expected it. I mean, we knew that he was just going to lull me into his game, where he would pressure but not really do anything, and just so we had to adjust our game, which was to move and make him or attack him when he was on the step. So we tried to stand in the middle, but he was kind of just waiting for me to do my thing. So we had to move and create something from it.
Like it's been said previously, great experience to go 3 rounds with a former champion. Do you feel that win really announces you at the very top of the division and top of the sport now?
For sure, yes. And if you look at guys like the current champion and the former champion, their last fight with Jan Blachowicz was a very close fight as well, and I beat him with a unanimous decision, UD. So it's a very good feat for me.
Final one, Pereira and Kalaev rematch, if that's next. Who do you see coming out on top of that?
I'm not too sure. I haven't even seen the fight yet, but I'll go back and I'll watch the fight too, and then we'll see where that places me to.
Carlos, right here. Talk to me. Former champion, logical next step is champion, right?
Say it again.
You won against a former champion tonight. Your last fight was against a title challenger. The logical next step is champion, correct?
100%. Yeah, that's what I'm looking to do. That's the plan.
Perfect. Talk to me. 2021, you start your UFC career with a loss that not many people expect. I'm sure you didn't expect it either. And now, 4 or 5 years later, you find yourself on the cusp of a title shot. Talk to me about this UFC journey you've been on ahead of your title shot.
Yeah, great journey. I mean, I was quick to move. Everything kind of just happened on the fly. I came straight from the kickboxing career and had to learn on the job. And, you know, when you put me in with the Sharks, I swim. So, you know, if you're going to put me with the title contender, I'll get that title for sure.
Carlos, at the back here, mate. So at the end, there was a bit of a strange moment where he just kind of, you're both standing in front of each other's face and he's kind of screaming in your direction. I just want to know what was kind of going through your mind in that moment.
Was this at the end?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, when you're going to war with someone and you don't get the knockout, then there's a bit of frustration there, so you're kind of yelling in each other's face. But there's a bit of respect in that too. So it's like just a war cry between the both of us, and we knew that we just had to respect each other. I mean, he's a former champion, and I had to pay my dues to him. So, you know, it was a bit of excitement at the same time.
Yeah, and You just mentioned there, Jan, former champion. He seems like he's been around forever. Can you remember the first time you saw one of his fights and what you were doing at that moment in your life?
Yeah, I don't know. I think who knows what I was doing. I was a kid at the time, but very fresh. I think I was playing rugby at the time, so I wasn't even in the MMA scene at this point.
Well done, mate.
Carlos, right here. First of all, congratulations on your victory and your performance. I wanted to ask you, what's the most important thing you have learned from this fight?
The most important thing is, you go up against someone like Jan, who is a veteran, who is smart. He was playing chess in there, but then also he was trying to lull me into his game, which was he was pressuring, but not really doing anything. So what we had to do was adjust our game. So the first round was, I was trying to feel him out to see what he was going to do, but he wasn't really doing too much. So second round we had to adjust our game plan and move and make him chase me and tire him out a bit. I had to change it up with a takedown because I knew in the past after any kind of grappling exchange his energy would zap. So I did that, and you could almost see it instantly. So we worked off that.
Obviously, you're now a very good position in the rankings. The thing that makes most sense possibly is the title fight. If you could choose your opponent, who would choose?
The hardest man possible. Give me, I think either Pereira or Ankalaev would be awesome. I know Ankalaev is a very tough opponent, and I've been keeping my eye on him. So he'd definitely be an opponent to be up against next.
Thank you, Carlos.
you coming to have.
All right, good evening, everybody. First of all, the attendance tonight was 18,583, sold out gate here at the O2. The gate was 4.71 million USD, which is the highest grossing fight night event in UFC history. We've got 4 performance bonuses tonight. Shauna, Alexia, Kevin Holland, and Brady. First question. Oscar, what's up?
What's up? Just give us your thoughts on another night in London, another loud crowd, all these sort of things we come to expect, but give us your thoughts and your feelings on the night.
Yeah, I mean, all in all, nice return to London. You know, I had a successful event in Manchester last year, so it's nice to get back. And it seems like this March date works out really well for our calendar. Nice to be back. We had a ton of our European broadcasters that came in to watch. I thought, you know, the fights were great overall. Nice to see like a really just dominant performance by Brady. Really interesting. I didn't think it was going to go that way, and I guess neither did the crowd. But it was pretty impressive performance.
Well, you know, you mentioned the Manchester event last year. We had 2 UK events last year. Do you base we're going to come back once a year every time, right? But
Yep.
do you base a second one based on what's happening with UK fighters like Leon and stuff like that, or can we guarantee a second event this year?
No, we don't base it on the fighters. This is like, you know, a calendar set 6 to 9 months out. We're always trying to be in the UK twice a year. Sometimes it works out and sometimes it doesn't. Also driven by the other events that we want to do throughout Europe, throughout the Middle East, North Africa. But typically we enter every year trying to get to the UK twice.
Do you think we'll come back again this year?
It's possible, yeah.
And obviously, I don't know if you can speak to whether the fight's happening or not happening, but just in terms of Tom Aspinall being on screen for the crowd to see him, he had the little duck. What do you make about fighters who are able to capitalize on moments like that and sort of push the narrative that they're trying to tell forward?
I mean, I think it's good. I think, you know, what Dana and the matchmakers are always doing is just letting fighters be themselves. And so if they want to jump into the narrative and continue to push it forward, it doesn't hurt. They're going to do whatever they want to do. They're not going to get, you know, anyone telling them not to do that type of thing. What do I think? I think it's great. I mean, I think everyone's really interested in seeing this fight. I'm not sure when it's going to come together. I think Dana was dropping some hints earlier on this week that, you know, news could be coming soon. But in terms of timing, nothing to mention right now.
And last one from me, obviously, she was a very important person to this region, is Molly McCann, who announced her retirement tonight. Just your thoughts on having her as an ambassador for this region and everything that goes with it.
Yeah, I mean, she mentioned that, I think, at the end of her post-fight speech and her retirement speech, that she might want to play a role. And you look at some of the athletes that we've got in different areas around the world post their UFC fighting career and the impact that they make. I mean, there's no better example than Nogueira in Brazil. I mean, the guy is out there every week. He's building houses, he's raising money, he's doing clinics with underprivileged youth. I think there's a real role for a lot of athletes that come and have a successful career, either on a global basis or a local basis, and then they want to give back. They want to use the skills that they've got, the profile that they've built, to make an impact on the community, to help, you know, continue to build our brand. And oftentimes it comes in the form of teaching. You know, they've been taught well. All these athletes have been taught well all their lives, and for them to now give back. So, in terms of an ambassador role, I think during her career, couldn't have done much better, but the opportunity to now springboard into something that's more meaningful for the next, well, for the rest of her life, I think it's something that we really need to build around.
Just right there, a question for the French audience. With the position of Manon Fiorot with title shot and the ranking of Nassourdine and Cyril Gane as #1 contender, can we expect more than a fight night in France in a close future? Like
more than a fight
pay-per-view?
night in terms of bringing a pay-per-view to France?
Yeah.
Or more than a fight night?
Pay-per-view, that's my question. Can we have a pay-per-view in a close future in France?
Yeah, we can. I mean, we've done a number of these pay-per-views either in the middle of the night. In certain circumstances, we've done them in local prime time. We talk extensively about the limitations that we've got to do pay-per-views in kind of traditional broadcast windows time for North America. It works obviously in Australia because it's a Sunday afternoon event. To do an event in Europe or the Middle East, pay-per-view that is more challenging for us. Having said that, we just talked about Manchester. So could we do it? Yes. We haven't looked into some of the limitations that we might have from a venue or like an ordinance perspective. Sometimes you just can't get a permit. You need to think about transportation. There's a lot of things that go into being able to have an event, a pay-per-view event in the middle of the night. So I think and someone keep me honest here, but the main card in Manchester last summer, I think, was at 3 a.m. So the main fight didn't really walk till 5:30. Can you do that in Paris? I'm not sure if we've even asked the question. If that's the case, we might, right? It's been big gates, always sold out, 3 events in a row with, arguably one of the most raucous crowds that we've got. Menon's competing in Montreal. Hope to see Benoit Saint-Denis come back at some point soon. So could you fill it with the necessary athletes to sell enough tickets in the middle of the night at a pay-per-view average ticket price? I think you could.
Thank you. Last one for me. Without saying names, there is possibility to have a new French fighter in the UFC this year?
Oui, absolument.
Merci.
Ouais.
Just here, staying on the theme of Europe,
Yes, sir.
I know that the Czech Republic and Germany, they have a lot of talent. Obviously, Europe, Prohaska's on a great run. They're dying for a UFC event, not a pay-per-view, but a fight night, something. And you mentioned plans to potentially go to those scenes. Is there any movement for potentially 2025 or 2026? Anything that fans can get excited for?
Yeah, so not in 25, but 26.
And I don't know if you've seen with the promotion named Octagon, but they sell out football stadiums and all over these massive arenas like the UFC do. Do the UFC see that and think, okay, we can hit these European cities as well?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely encouraging. We've heard a lot about the Octagon situation being, I think they broadcast events on RTL. We just renewed our deal with DAZN in Germany, and they talked a lot about, growth of the sport and citing what Octagon has been doing, which I think is great. So what does it do for us? Obviously, it helps generate a number of local athletes, and so the pipeline is stronger for athletes in those particular regions. Galvanizes a fan base, helps make broadcast and media values increase, and it shows that there's demand from a ticket sales perspective. So for us, extremely encouraging, which is why I mentioned not 25 but 26 as the next likely window that we'd consider going. And that's partly to do with the broadcast situation that we've got in the U.S., and I think I've talked about that quite a bit in the past.
Right here. Hello. Good evening. We were talking about some events in France and in Prague or some places from Europe. I was wondering, due to that it's going to be difficult to have an event in Spain this year, is probably a goal for you to go to Spain next year?
Yeah, Dana's talked about that quite a bit. I think here's the situation with Spain. We've got to fight the right destination, and we've talked about it a lot. Like, we're not going to venues that don't have a roof. It doesn't make any sense for our athletes, for the product, for the integrity of the product. We want the level playing field to be equal and not have the same kind of weather variables that you'd have in football or soccer or golf or whatever else. So challenging for us. If there's a venue that we can go to, then we'll continue to look at Spain. Having said that, there's very strong interest on Dana's front, so we've just got to figure out where to go.
And the last one, obviously, Dana has talked before that maybe in a couple of weeks we got some news from Ilya Topuria's next fight.
Yeah, I mean, he's all over social right now. It's
new
era,
crazy.
New persona. I'm not sure what he's got cooking up, but it sounds like he's got something interesting.
Yeah. Do you think that we could guess who are the 3 fights that maybe they are thinking about for Ilya?
I don't know, man.
Thank you.
Not up to me. I don't know the answer to that question. I'm sure they've got a long list of guys. I'm sure he's got a long list of guys, right? I think if he's got a formula that he's bringing to market and he's already publicizing pretty heavily, I'm sure it's not just about him. I'm sure it's about the pathway he wants to, what weight class, what belt, and what he wants to achieve in this new chapter of his.
Thank you.
Dave, down here
Yes,
in the
sir.
middle. When Oscar raised the possibility of 2 UK events there, you said that North Africa is also factoring into your decision making. Is that on the cards for maybe this year or late next year?
Yeah, so we've got as you guys all know, we've got a pretty extensive relationship with the Department of Culture and Tourism in Abu Dhabi, and the way that we sort of manage our relationship with them is the perspective is not just Abu Dhabi. Like, the perspective is the region, and the region is Middle East, North Africa, and so. In working with them, there's a number of different countries that we've identified as destinations for us over the next few years. We've really been Abu Dhabi and we've been Riyadh. So those are sort of the 2 so far. But, we've been thinking about Bahrain, we've been thinking about Qatar, we've been thinking about Jordan, we've been thinking about a few different countries. There's an order of operations to it. So when it comes to North Africa specifically, nothing to disclose at the moment, but I think continental Africa for us is really compelling, and we've been talking for a while about whether it's South Africa or Rwanda, or do we go to French-speaking country. So there's a few different options. There's a lot at play. There's a lot of logistics at play. We've got to have the right athletes. So nothing to report right now, but that's the way that we're thinking about it.
And for you personally, how much do you want to get that over the line? Because I know I've spoken to you about an African event for like maybe the last 5-6 years. So
yeah,
personally, how much do you want to deliver that?
It's a massive priority. I mean, there's so much excitement unlocking new markets, right? And you don't get to do it that often. We did it a few years ago in France, and it's been such a great ride. There's a few other countries that we are trying to get to this year, and hopefully in the next few weeks we've got some announcements. But it's a really special moment, right? Because there's obviously the pent-up demand. There's this whole concept of like giving back to the fans that have been asking for it for a while. So I think for us it's really meaningful, and then you've got athletes who invariably are saying, okay, you got to come to my country, and here's how we can make it work. We've got connections with the government. Here are sponsors that you guys can reach out to. And so the best advocates in many cases are the athletes. And so that the athletes play a major role in that. For me personally, and for the incredible teams that the UFC has in 7 different offices that we've got around the world, it's important to them too. It's something we're really pushing for, but it's not as easy as trying to book the O2 or trying to get back to Bercy Arena or Arena Accor in Paris.
Cheers, thank you.
Thanks.
Back here. Hi.
Hello.
PFL star Dakota Dichiva was in the crowd tonight, and I think some fans were getting quite excited about that.
Sorry, which athlete?
Dakota Dichiva. She was in the crowd. People were getting excited about potentially linking up with the UFC. Is that premature? Is she just here as an observer, or is that something we can get excited about?
I wish I had more info for you. I really don't know.
No, it is. And last question from me. In the past few weeks, the UFC have reverted back to the old gloves, and there's been kind of an increase in eye pokes, and it's been more of a news topic. Is the plan to stick with these gloves?
Yes.
Even though they were rolled, the new gloves were created and for a reason, the plan is to revert back with these, and just eye pokes are just part of the cause, part of the game.
I mean, I think Dana, Sean, Mick, Hunter, they spoke to a lot of different athletes, and everyone seems to want to go back to the old gloves. So for now, that's the plan. Until it's not, and there'll be other gloves. But I think for now, we're going to continue to roll with those.
Dave, over here.
Yes, sir.
We've heard a lot of places, Middle East and Europe. So I'm from the Netherlands, and you have been in the Netherlands for one time in Rotterdam.
Twice, I think. Twice in Rotterdam.
Twice Rotterdam.
Yeah.
Twice then. When can we see another possibility in the Netherlands? With Reinier, we now have a guy who's on a tear. And maybe he will fight Bo Nickel again. When he fights Bo Nickel, he will win. We get something more. Are there any talks about the Netherlands?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the 2 events, I think the 2 events that we've had in Rotterdam have been excellent. Amsterdam's always tough, challenging because the permitting process in Amsterdam is really onerous. It's very difficult for us to get a permit, if you can believe it. So back to the question that this gentleman asked earlier. The concept for us in 25, likely not a possibility. 26, we're confident that, as we go through the U.S. media rights deal, and we've got a new set of terms with either our current partner in ESPN or whoever is interested in partnering with us in the U.S. and potentially other countries around the world. The intention, and we're being very deliberate about this, is to have an increased number of primetime events that we can have throughout Europe and Middle East, and China for that matter, every year. So there's limitations on what we can do now, and the intention for us is to make sure that we've got a higher sort of ceiling on the number of events, a greater number of events that we can do in prime time. And that's when we'll be able to think about Germany and getting back to Prague, and of course, Netherlands.
Thank you very much.
No worries. Hi.
Dave, hello. Dave, so Joanna Jędrzejczyk, former UFC champion, UFC Hall of Famer, became a sports manager. And I would like to ask you if you are aware of some new contract signs of Polish guys that she represents, like Kuba Wikłacz or Robert Ruchała, And can you tell us something about it, or don't you know?
I wish I could. I don't know anything about it. Yeah, and I apologize. I mean, listen, if Dana was here and he'd be able to answer all these questions about athletes, but those types of details, are always really coming from him.
Of course. Last one from me. What UFC thinks about this new idea of Conor McGregor to become an Irish president?
Or the Prime Minister of Ireland? Is that what he was
Or a
after?
president, I think.
I don't know. Prime Minister. I don't know. I'm not really sure what to say about that one. I think he'd do a great job. He seems pretty passionate. He had a very impassioned speech at the White House. He raised a number of very important topics. And let's just see, I mean, I know he's like pushing for the, this is the ultimate democracy. So let's see what the people think. And maybe Oscar's the better person to.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hello, over there, over here. Hello, to your left.
Hello.
Hi. So it's been 8 years since last UFC event in Poland, and the Polish media are asking this question every year. But let me rephrase it. What is the biggest problem or challenge to come back to Poland? Is it building a right fight card, or is it because the possible gate will be probably lower than in the West, like in France or here in England?
Yeah, but I think we've had some pretty successful gates. We've had a number of successful events. There's no shortage of athletes. There's also a number of destinations we go to. I feel like I'm being a bit repetitive, and I apologize, but similar answer to a couple of the other questions. If we've got a limitation on how many events that we can do in prime time, and we don't really want to do middle of the night events. Paris, London, some of the destinations where we've either got an increased number of athletes, we've got our teams here, we've got major media deals. Those typically are higher priority destinations, and it's like London's a destination for us. I mean, I can't remember the last time we've done a press conference with this many media, right? So you guys have traveled from many different places to be here. We were trying to get the number of tickets sold outside of the UK for tonight. I couldn't get it before here, but guaranteed that a significant number were outside of the UK. It's a destination that's easy for people to come to, and so it makes it easier to sell tickets. We've got a really healthy relationship with Polsat and a number of other partners in Poland. And again, it'll be on the list for 26 and beyond. Thank you. Yes, sir.
Hello, sir. My question will be also about the location, but not the tournament, but a fighter. Recently, there were rumors that Khamzat Chimaev might have his next fight in the United States. So if you're aware about it, has his problem which prevented him from coming to the US for tournament in the past been solved yet?
I don't know. Let's turn off my phone. Sorry. Yes, I'm not sure how to answer that. I don't have an answer for you. All right. Guys, thank you very much. Appreciate all the support this week.
mean, Sean, as far as going across the world and shutting up a hometown,
what's up, brother?
shutting up a hometown crowd, I think that went about as good as it possibly could. Would you agree?
Yeah, it's pretty quiet in here. It got quiet fast, but UK's been cool. Everyone's been super nice to me. It's not like how you get it if you come to Philly. So I was expecting a lot worse.
Did you sort of see the fight going that way, right? You put him on the back foot, you engaged him in the wrestling, and eventually he's gonna have to give up because of your pressure.
Yeah, that's how you beat Leon. The blueprint was kind of written in a lot of his fights, and I just did it a lot better than I think anybody else has been able to do it.
Were you surprised, I'm trying to be respectful here to Leon, but were you surprised maybe rounds 2, 3 that he was giving you so much momentum, if you know what I mean?
Yeah, even when he shot on me, Leon's a very technical fighter, but when you make it a real hard fight, he tends to break, and I could see he was breaking, and I knew he broke once he shot on me because that's the last place he would want to be is on the ground with me. So once I knew he wanted to grapple with me, I knew it was going to be over soon.
And he came out quite aggressive, more aggressive than we've seen him come out recently. Did you know in that first round, like, okay, look, he can have the first 2 minutes here, but if I weather the storm, eventually I'm going to start getting going?
Yeah, I mean, it's a fist fight. You're going to get hit. I think I punched him pretty good too. So I got to punch him. He punched me. He hit me with the elbow, but I kept putting him on the back foot, listening to the game plan, and got the submission.
I feel like people lose in MMA, but for some reason people really held that Bilal one against you. You know? They kind of really, for whatever reason.
Yeah.
Do you feel like a win like this over a champion who had a decent reign at welterweight sort of really finally does just put that one behind you? It's in the past, and you've proven that you've evolved as a fighter, and that performance can't really be thrown against you anymore.
Yeah, I think that's been gone since Bilal became champion. It did what he did to Leon. You know what I'm saying? So Bilal, if you look at Bilal's record, he has an amazing record. He has me on there. He has a lot of good guys on there. So for people to shit on me for losing to him, it is what it is. But yeah, that loss was the best thing that ever happened to me. Clearly, I'm on a nice little run here. And who's the last person to finish Leon? Me. So yeah, I'm doing pretty good.
What would you like to do next? Who's up?
I'd like to go home and sit with my wife and my daughter, who's a couple weeks old. So that's what I'm going to do when I get home.
Congrats, mate.
Sean, right here. You mentioned Leon last time he was finished. He's never been finished before. So you become the first person, pro and amateur, to finish Leon Edwards. Do you feel that gives you a springboard over Shavkat Rakhmonov for the next title shot after Jack Della Maddalena?
I mean, I don't make those calls. The UFC does. But I think if you look at the people I've been beaten versus Shavkat, I think I have a pretty good Gilbert Burns and Leon Edwards, my last two versus his last two. I think his were Wonder Boy and Ian Gary. So, I mean, I got a nice little record going. But I just want to keep adding names to my resume. And, yeah, we'll see what happens.
And you've been a father for a few weeks now. Did you feel any of the dad strength in the cage today?
Yeah, I felt that the moment I had my baby girl, a lot of things change for you, and just put stuff into perspective like that. Fighting means a lot to me, but it's not everything. And if I would have lost this fight, I would have went home, and her and her mom would have loved me no matter what. So it made me really be able to go out here and just be free.
And you had 18 fights before you became a father, and then this is your first fight as a father. What changed for you, or what changes for you when you go in there? You're fighting for more now, right?
Yeah, you're definitely fighting for more. But yeah, like I just said, it lets me just go out there and fight the way I want to fight, knowing that no matter what happens, I get to go home to a family that's going to love me. And I learned that after my Bilal fight, right? I was 15-0. I thought if I lost a fight, no one would care. But I just thought my world would crumble, and everyone moves on. There's fights next weekend. Nobody's really going to care that much. No one cares about us that much. You know, we all think about ourselves way too much, and I've been learning that a lot lately.
And last one from me. There's a trend, mostly last year, but of fighters weighing in as backups to kind of solidify their title shot. Would you be interested in doing that for the Montreal card, just in case, weighing as a backup to solidify your shot if you need to?
Well, what's the date of that again?
May?
Could be a possibility. I don't think it's too far of a flight from Philly. We'll see.
Congratulations.
Thank you, man.
Sean over here.
What's up, brother?
Sean, we talked about your jiu-jitsu prior going into this fight. I said you may have the best jiu-jitsu in the division. As a grappler, I really enjoyed the exchanges.
Thank you, man.
Can we say you have the best jiu-jitsu within the UFC?
I don't know. I'm getting up there. If I keep collecting some grappling tournaments outside of fighting and submitting people in the cage, I might get there. I got a lot more submissions to add. There's guys who have a lot more than me, but I think I'm definitely starting to stake a claim.
And Bilal tweeted, Sean copied my homework. Was that a plan going into this fight to put on pressure on Leon? Because we have noticed when you give him space, he'll throw the leg kicks and you come into his game.
Yeah.
Was that a plan of it?
Yeah, I mean, I think I did a lot better than Bilal did. I think Bilal lost a couple of rounds. He had his back taken for an entire round. I think it was, 3-2 when they fought. I dominated Leon every round. No one's ever did it like me. And then I submitted him and made him quit in front of his hometown. You weren't going to... If we were in Philly, you ain't making me quit in front of my hometown. I'll tell you that. I'm going to sleep, son. So just remember that.
Honestly, a 10-10 performance. Last one for me. I saw you talking to Jason Herzog at the end. What was going on?
He's just a great ref, and I was super happy when I found out that he was my ref. There's a lot of guys who are just getting into the sport, and I was just very happy knowing that I had a true professional ref in my fights.
Sean, thank you very much. And good luck.
Thank you, brother.
Sean, just over here. Would you say you almost root for Bilal in that title fight with Jack? And would you say revenge is fueling you?
Yeah, 100%. I've been rooting for Bilal since he beat me, of course. The better he does, the better it makes my loss look to him, you know. He went out, he beat Leon, and now he's fighting Jack, which Jack's a super tough fight. I was getting ready for Jack for our fight before when I had to pull out. And I know how good Jack is, and Jack can knock anybody out in the world, but you can't bet against Bilal. He finds ways to win, and I think he's going to win that one. And, of course, I want him to be champion when we fight again. But if for some reason he does lose, I would fight him for a #1 contender. So, yeah, there's options out there.
You mentioned in the build-up that it probably wasn't wise for Leon to be talking about Bilal so much. And I know the media were asking Leon about Bilal. What did you make of it now? Do you feel that Leon may have been overlooking you and more thinking about getting revenge himself?
Yeah, I think he was too worried about Bilal. He was too worried about how tall I am. He was too worried about a bunch of other things that didn't matter. And yeah, it showed tonight. He got smoked. So he should have been more focused on this fight.
Was he someone that you were watching even when he won the belt against Usman, that you thought you would dominate him even back then?
I think I can dominate anybody in the division. That's the way you're supposed to think, right? But he was definitely a guy. I was asking for this fight. Before, and then Jack got it, so I was a little upset about that. And then I literally texted my manager the day my daughter was born and said, "Man, I'm so happy I didn't get that fight. I don't think I would be able to leave her." And then 2 days later, we got the fight, and I was leaving. I was shipping off to London. So it's it's crazy the way things work.
Do you have any messages to those that have doubted you since that Bilal loss?
I mean, I don't give a fuck. You can think whatever you want to think about me. I'm here getting my hand raised, cashing checks, taking my team around the world, and living my life. So, yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you, brother.
Sean, down here. I know you said that the UK fans have been giving you love earlier during the week, but obviously, you being the traveling fighter, they gave you a bit of a raucous reception there. How satisfying was it to silence them?
It felt good, but it really wasn't that bad. I was kind of blocking it out anyway. My corner man told me, same thing they always tell me, shut them up, and I did. So yeah, but it could have been a lot worse. They could have been throwing shit at me, like you get done in Philly.
A lot of people, when they come up against a former champion, they think, yes, I can be a former champion. But when they actually see them enter the octagon, they might get a little, not starstruck, but you get the point. The point I'm trying to say. Did that moment go through your head? Did you think, holy shit, I'm actually in here with a former champion, and this is the biggest moment of my career?
No, he's just a man. People get lucky and they get to the UFC. I know guys in my gym that can beat a lot of the guys in the UFC. So yeah, he's just another man, just like I am, and I think I can beat anybody in the world. And I said it all week: if you have a neck, I can choke you. Leon has a neck; he got choked.
And other than him trying to shoot on you, was there anything that he did there that surprised you?
No, he hit me with a nice elbow. I blocked his kicks. Yeah, he didn't. Leon likes to be like he's like a pretty striker. He likes to have his range and have things go on his terms. And once they start going off his terms, he does dumb shit like shoot on me, and then it goes downhill from there.
Cheers, man. Thank you.
Thank you, bro.
Just one for me, Sean. If you already think about it, what you should do differently in a potential rematch with Belal, like technically? Have you already thought about that?
Just go fight my fight. I didn't fight my fight. I didn't believe in myself the way I believe in myself now. And yeah, I'm just going to go, I'd go out there and believe in myself the way I did tonight and my other fights before that. And I'll be a UFC champion.
Have you a prediction for this future fight?
Belal by decision.
Sean, right here. Absalon MMA for Karate Bushido.
What's up,
You said
brother?
in the Jorgen experience that you wasn't present during the Belal fight.
Yup.
Can you share with us the tools that you used to be present in that fight?
Yeah, just being where your feet are, just taking one step at a time, not thinking about the past, not thinking about the future, just being locked in, 25 minutes of focused in what you're doing. And I feel like a lot of us do that. We kind of think about the past, we think about what we have to do tomorrow, next week, next month, instead of just enjoying what we're doing in the present moment and, yeah, living for now. And that's how I've been living my whole life.
You're big into visualization. Did that fight go as planned, or did you want to put him out before?
Yeah, I really thought he was going to turn his back, give up his neck, and I would choke him with a rear naked. It kind of was going that way, but I visualized getting a choke, and it worked. Even ground and pound, I feel like I was doing some good damage with that. I thought I could have got a stoppage in my mind with that, but a submission came out of it. So yeah, it worked out.
Thank you. Congratulations.
man.
Right here, Sean. First of all, congratulations
Thank
on the victory. Amazing display of jiu-jitsu and grappling. Everyone has been talking about this week the height difference, when in reality facing a taller opponent is often an advantage in grappling. Do you think Leon's height benefited you in dominating the wrestling exchanges?
Yeah, I mean, I've went up against guys with that body style my entire career. I'm 5'9". I've always fought at 170. There's advantages of being tall, but there's disadvantages, and getting on, like me getting my takedowns are a lot easier. Me doing a lot of things on the ground are a lot easier. So there's sides of it. There's advantages for every kind of body style. Yeah, I'm not as tall, but I'm powerful and strong when I get in on my shots, and then my control, obviously, on the ground. He never got back to his feet, so yeah, it's just you have to game plan for the kind of body style you're fighting. And even when we got in there, he looked a lot taller at the weigh-ins. I think he had some platforms on or something, but he wasn't that big in there. So yeah, everyone's the same size when they're laying like this, so it doesn't really matter.
We also see how much you have evolved from that loss with Belal. What changes do you think we could see in you in a next fight with him?
Getting my hand raised.
And the last one, Sean, for me. If you could say who are, for you, in your opinion, your top 3 grapplers ever in MMA, who are you?
Man, that's a tough one. For me, I would just say my number 1 is George St. Pierre. GSP's my idol. That's who I kind of try to model my career around. Him as a fighter, as a human, as a person. He's just a great role model for the sport. GSP's my number 1.
Thank you, Sean.
Thank you, brother.
Okay, Sean, congrats on your win. I just wanted to ask you, in such a talented division like this, with rising stars like Shafkat, Jack, and Gary, and those names, do you feel like this victory is more than just a win against a former champion in his own home? Do you feel like this is like a statement for you in the division?
Yeah, I mean, you tell me. Is a statement coming in here beating Leon in his hometown? I think so. If you look at Ian's last performance and Shavkat wasn't great. Jack's fight before that, he was losing to Gilbert Burns before he wasn't. So, yeah, I just dominated Gilbert Burns. I just dominated Leon Edwards. So I think I'm right there.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, guys. Thank you, guys.